There's a gene inside your DNA right now that increases diabetes risk by 50%, another one that makes your immune system attack your own body, another that nearly doubles your chance of having a stroke. These aren't random mutations or modern diseases. They're 50,000 years old, and we inherited them from a species that's been extinct for 40,000 years. If you're of European, Asian, or Native American descent, about 2% of your genome comes from Neanderthals, and a lot of that ancient code is quietly destroying your health. Around 50,000 years ago, when modern humans first pushed out of Africa into Europe and Asia, they encountered Neanderthals who'd been living there for hundreds of thousands of years, and instead of staying separate, they interbred multiple times across multiple regions. We don't know the circumstances, peaceful, violent, or somewhere between, but it happened enough that nearly everyone outside Africa carries Neanderthal DNA today. At first, this seemed like a brilliant evolutionary shortcut. Neanderthals had spent millennia adapting to harsh climates and local diseases. By interbreeding, humans got pre-tested survival genes without waiting for random mutations. It helped our ancestors spread across continents faster than evolution alone would allow. But genes that saved lives in the Ice Age are wrecking us in the modern world. Let's start with diabetes. A gene called SLC16A11 came directly from Neanderthals, and it's devastating. If you carry this gene variant, your diabetes risk jumps by up to 50%. This gene controls how your liver handles fatty acids. The Neanderthal version completely screws up your metabolism, spiking blood sugar levels. But strangely enough, Neanderthals didn't have diabetes. This gene did something completely different for them, but drop it into a modern human, eating processed foods and sitting at desks all day. Metabolic disaster. Then there's your immune system. Neanderthals gave us turbocharged immune genes, toll-like receptors that recognize germs incredibly fast. Great for fighting Ice Age infections. Terrible now, because those same genes make your immune system overreact to everything. Pollen, pet dander, dust, harmless triggers that send people into sneezing fits. If you suffer through spring allergies, blame your inner Neanderthal. Those hyperactive immune genes turn against you. Neanderthal DNA has been directly linked to Crohn's disease and lupus. About 25% of Europeans carry a variant that raises Crohn's risk. Another affecting 10% increases lupus risk. Your defense system, courtesy of Neanderthal genetics, is attacking your own body. Blood clotting is another nightmare. Neanderthals had a gene that made blood clot faster, useful when you're bleeding from a wound and need to seal it quickly. Not useful when that same gene causes strokes, heart attacks, and pulmonary embolisms in modern humans for no reason. We inherited a Stone Age band-aid that won't turn off. It even causes placental blood clots during pregnancy, risking both mother and baby. Your mental health isn't safe either. Neanderthal gene fragments connect to depression and mood disorders. One theory: these genes helped Neanderthals cope with long European winters by adjusting circadian rhythms for low sunlight. Today, that manifests as seasonal depression or anxiety. Your bad days might carry a 50,000-year-old signature, and it gets even worse. If you've struggled to quit smoking, Neanderthals might be responsible. A gene called SLC6A11 affects brain reward pathways. The Neanderthal version cranks up nicotine dependence. They never smoked tobacco. This gene had a different purpose. But when modern humans with this variant encountered cigarettes, much stronger addiction, your inability to quit might be archaic. And it gets weird because Neanderthal DNA doesn't just affect health, it affects how you look and act. Wake up naturally at dawn. That's likely Neanderthal genetics pushing your body clock toward early bird mode. Scientists think this helped them adapt to extreme seasonal daylight changes. If you're bouncing out of bed at 6 AM, thank your ancient ancestors. Your physical appearance is massively impacted also. Look at your nose. If it's broader than average, that might be Neanderthal influence. They had wide noses to warm frigid Ice Age air. A 2023 study linked specific Neanderthal variants to broader nasal shapes in modern Europeans and Asians. And your hair isn't safe either. researchers found 50 Neanderthal variants associated with male pattern baldness. We inherited them, and now they're expressed as hair loss. Pain sensitivity traces back too. Some people carry 3 Neanderthal variants in a gene called SCN9A that make nerves more sensitive. Same stimulus, sharper pain. Now, do you sunburn easily or have any freckles? If so, blame Neanderthal genes again. One variant called BNC2 shows up in 70% of Europeans. If your fingers curl inward and won't straighten, Dupuytren's contracture, called Viking disease, 3 genetic markers came from Neanderthals. They left fingerprints everywhere, little DNA signatures reshaping our immune response, our faces, our daily habits. Now, to be fair, it wasn't all bad. Those aggressive immune genes that cause allergies today saved our ancestors from plagues. When modern humans hit Eurasia, they faced diseases they'd never encountered. Neanderthals had fought those pathogens for millennia. By interbreeding, we inherited their immune playbook, brutal responses that kept early humans alive. There's even a Neanderthal gene on chromosome 12 that protects against severe illness by boosting antiviral response. About 50% of people outside Africa carry it, and weirdly, nearly 1 in 3 European women carries a Neanderthal progesterone receptor gene that reduces miscarriage risk and stabilizes pregnancy. Women with this variant have fewer complications and more children on average. That gene spread because it helped babies survive, so there were trade-offs. In the Ice Age, those genes were lifesavers. Natural selection kept them because they worked. But we don't live in the Ice Age anymore. We live in a world of processed foods, sedentary lifestyles, and environmental triggers that didn't exist 50,000 years ago. Genes that once protected us now harm us. That's evolution's brutal irony. No plan, no foresight. Just whatever keeps you alive long enough to reproduce. What keeps you alive at 20 might kill you at 50. Here's the thing though, you can actually find out how much Neanderthal DNA you're carrying. Companies will scan your genome and tell you exactly which archaic variants you have. They'll show you hundreds of Neanderthal markers and compare you to others. Some people find out they're in the top 10% for Neanderthal ancestry. Others discover they have specific variants linked to traits like less back hair or being slightly taller. And collectively, humanity is still carrying a massive amount of Neanderthal genetics. Each person only has about 2%. But everyone has different fragments. If you could somehow combine all the Neanderthal DNA scattered across all living humans, you'd reconstruct about 40% of the entire Neanderthal genome. They're not really gone. They're distributed across billions of us, like a genetic jigsaw puzzle that will never be fully completed. So, was interbreeding with Neanderthals worth it? Did the survival advantages outweigh the diabetes, depression, blood clots, and autoimmune diseases we're dealing with now? Maybe back then, yes. Without those genes, early humans might not have survived Europe's winters and diseases. We might not exist. But in the modern world, the scales have shifted. That 2% of archaic DNA is a mixed blessing at best. For some people, it's a curse they didn't ask for. The strangest part, we're living with consequences of decisions made 50,000 years ago by people who had no idea what they were passing down. Every spring, sneeze. Every blood sugar spike. Every time you see that broad nose or thinning hair in the mirror, you're looking at an echo of the Ice Age. Neanderthals went extinct 40,000 years ago, but they never really disappeared. They're inside us, in our blood, our bones, our brains, a genetic ghost we can't shake. And that might have been humanity's worst mistake.